Live at 5, this is 13 News Now.
And we begin tonight with a live look right there at I64 in Newport News. Construction to make 64 wider is complete on part of the highway.
The cones are being removed from a 5-mile stretch, making your drive a little easier. 13 News Now reporter Nico Clemens is live in Newport News. Something to celebrate here, Nico.
Hey guys, where do I begin? Nearly 6 miles of Interstate 64 now wider. Today we're celebrating the completion of the first segment of the I64 widening project from Jefferson Avenue to Yorktown Road, which is exit 247, right where I'm standing. And drivers say it's about time.
Towards the four uses area, it's a lot of congestion there always.
Some relief for drivers in Hampton Roads. Interstate 64 from Jefferson Avenue to Yorktown Road, now 6 lanes in both directions. Construction crews working tirelessly for 2 years to widen nearly 6 miles of interstate.
But now today they opened it up, it's a lot smoother.
Rex Wellens lives in Newport News. He knows all too well how congested it can and does get on the interstate. But that may change.
I just came off of it not too long ago, and it was actually a lot better, smoother. I didn't feel like you're trapped in a lane or,
Governor Terry McAuliffe promising 4 years ago to find a way to ease congestion and improve traffic on 64.
Families were angry, couldn't see their kids play a ball game, and to cut this ribbon on time and on budget is extraordinary.
Now on to segments 2 and 3 of the I-64 widening project, ultimately widening 64 all the way to just west of Newman Road in York County. In the end, that's 21 miles.
And hopefully here in 3 or 4 years that they're going to see a much more expanded ride.
Drivers like Wellens say hopefully no more headaches.
I believe you'll be able to have more traffic flow to businesses and everything as well. Less accidents most likely because you have more space.
Yeah, again, this is just the first of 3 segments. Phase 2, segment 2 of the I-64 widening project is already underway. Plans are to widen 64, starting near exit 242 all the way to where segment 1 ends, exit 247, again, Yorktown Road. And construction for segment 2 is expected to wrap up spring 2019. Live in Newport News, I'm Nico Clemens, 13 News Now.
Breaking news at William & Mary. The school suspended Sigma Iota Alpha sorority after officials say members violated the hazing policy. The sorority is suspended until at least the end of the 2018 spring semester. William & Mary prohibits any hazing on campus. We're still working to learn more about this incident.
Only on 13 News Now, the Navy trying to get to the bottom of what caused a massive sewage spill at Little Creek. It happened at the Joint Expeditionary Base early Thursday morning. 60,000 gallons seeped out into a harbor on the base that feeds into the Chesapeake Bay. Today, Mike Gooding got some answers from Navy leaders.
To be clear, this was not a case of neglect or human error, but a simple matter of a mechanical malfunction. The spill originated at this pump station early Thursday morning. A gasket failed and a pipe ruptured. 60,000 gallons of sewage discharged out of this sewer and into the nearby on-base harbor. Around 4 a.m., a security team member noticed the problem and notified Public Works. They stopped the spill some 4.5 hours later at 8:30 a.m. Working with the Virginia Department of Health, officials determined there was no health risk to the public or wildlife.
This was liquefied sewage. It was untreated. It's mostly water, but we wouldn't want to minimize it. But yeah, it dissipates very quickly. You've got, trillions of gallons out in the bay, so 60,000 gallons does dissipate fairly quickly.
Navy leaders say their team acted rapidly to stop the flow of sewage, and it's been fixed.
Yeah, unfortunately, equipment breaks sometimes. And what I'm most proud of is the fact that my security department identified this leak almost immediately, made the right phone calls.
The Navy says the bad gasket and others like it have been replaced. The matter is under investigation. The specific cause of the failure is unknown. They want to learn what happened to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Mike Gooding, 13 News Now.
A man is charged in a hit-and-run crash that killed a man in Norfolk. It happened on South Military Highway and Mariner Street around 9:30 last night. Police say 57-year-old Lloyd Vines was driving with a suspended license when he allegedly hit 27-year-old Michael Flowers. The victim died before help arrived. Vines is charged with felony hit and run. He is being held without bond.
We have new information about the white nationalist rallies that erupted into chaos in Charlottesville this summer. A new report says police failed to protect the public. That's the word from a former federal prosecutor hired to independently review the situation. 13 News Now investigative reporter Laura Geller has been digging through the document. And Laura, what does that report exactly say?
Well, it is sharply critical, saying law enforcement failed on multiple fronts, both to prepare for and respond to the Unite the Right rally and counter protests. The 220-page document details what went wrong in August, which led to the deaths of 3 people and the injuries of many more.
Former federal prosecutor Tim Hafey did not mince words when presenting his report in Charlottesville this morning.
This is an event where people are bent on hurting each other, and the inability to plan for that is the theme that runs through this.
Hafey explains the report tries to make sense of the tragic events of 2017. The team of investigators spoke to hundreds of people, reviewed hundreds of thousands of documents, and examined hours of videos and thousands of photographs.
I talked to no police officer from the chief on down who feels good about what happened or who wanted there to be violence in the streets. There are a lot of well-intentioned people, ethical people, who feel bad about this.
The criticism includes Charlottesville police not seeking input from other agencies experienced in handling these types of events, CPD not adequately training officers, law enforcement not adequately separating the different protests, along with CPD and Virginia State Police not operating under one unified command.
They didn't protect public safety. As you all know, the violence that occurred in our community was troubling. It was troubling for the people involved. It was troubling for everybody who watched it unfold.
We received a statement from the city manager in response to the report. It says this police department and this city government pledge to learn from these experiences and strengthen our ability to offer the safety that our residents, visitors, and business owners deserve. Charlottesville is a strong, resilient city that values and celebrates our diversity. It goes on to say an action plan will be unveiled at Monday night's City Council meeting. Laura Geller, 13 News Now.
A University of Virginia professor accused of sexual harassment will not teach at the university this spring. That is according to UVA. Creative writing professor John Casey was set to teach 2 graduate-level courses in the English department. 3 complaints were filed this week by former students who said he had sexually harassed them and created a hostile environment in the classroom.
So many people are eager to help find missing North Carolina toddler Mariah Woods. The FBI even had to turn some volunteers away. About 700 people showed up in Jacksonville this morning to join the search. Authorities say they are looking at what was found and will decide whether they need to look in another area. The FBI says so-called items of interest are being sent to a lab in Quantico for priority testing. 3-year-old Mariah was reported missing from her home on Monday.
A project to remove Cape Hatteras fishing pier and its pier house starts this month. Is also known as the Frisco Pier. It opened to the public in 1962 and was originally 20 feet wide and 500 feet long. Several hurricanes over the years have severely damaged the pier. The damage from Hurricane Earl was so severe that the pier and pier house closed to the public in 2010 and have not reopened. The deconstruction of the pier is expected to be completed by spring.
Turning now to a live look over downtown Norfolk. Right there this weekend, the Granby Street staple Field Guide is closing its doors for good. Tomorrow is the last day the restaurant will be open. Field Guide made the announcement last month. Now they're asking everyone to come out and say goodbye with one of their famous Tennessee slushies. Since opening 4 years ago, they say they've served nearly 17,000 of the slushies.
Well, today is the last day you can return gifts for the Salvation Army's Angel Tree program. 13 News Now is a proud sponsor. Anyone can grab a tag from an angel tree at local malls and businesses, then buy the gifts listed on the tag to help children in need. Those gifts must be returned by tonight. Earlier today, we went inside the warehouse where volunteers sort through the gifts you've already provided. We met a special volunteer who says he does it all for the kids.
Gosh, I'd love to see their faces on Christmas. When they open these gifts and when they see this, it's tough.
Thanks for your hard work, Marlon. If you want to help in another way, you can donate items to the Salvation Army's Christmas Depot. The Salvation Army tells us they find themselves short of boys' clothing ages 6 to 11 every year.